Hey everyone, I'm Tassenix and welcome back to another mod guide video. This time we're covering Darth Bane, one of the most brutal attackers in the game. Paired with his unique, the Rule of Two, there's very few matchups, Galactic Legends included, that he cannot take down. Can't wait to dig into this guy. First and foremost, let's go ahead and bust into the TLDR for Darth Bane. His set type should be health. For arrow, circle, and cross, those primaries should also all be health. For the triangle, you could go either health or crit damage. I prefer crit damage, especially if you can get some percent health on it, some offense. That would be ideal. If you're really constrained on that, though, he can make effective use of a health triangle. But crit damage long term would be really cool. Turn order, because of his, I want to say, leadership, Omicron. He's always going to be starting first. We'll cover which one of the Omicrons gives him the bonus turn at battle start. But with that bonus turn, he'll always be kicking off your battles. So we can just assume that he's first in the order. That typically doesn't make too much a difference for how you play him, though, I will say. Stat priority should be speed up to around 250. You can be a little less, a little more, but I found that 250 is right around the mark that you kind of want to have him. After you reach that mark, stack health over offense. You really do want both, but if you have to bias one way or the other, choose the health. It'll help you survive, really, until you become unmanageable to the enemy. All right. That's enough on the TLDR. Let's go ahead and dig right into his leadership. Only the strong survive. Sith allies have plus 30% offense and plus 30 speed. Sith allies can't be revived. Light side enemies have minus 10 speed, doubled for Jedi. At the start of battle, allies gain defense up, evasion up, and health up for 2 turns. Whenever a Sith ally is defeated, Bane's cooldowns are reset, he recovers 50% health, and gains 50% turn meter. While Bane is active, at the end of each of his turns, the weakest other Sith ally takes damage equal to 15% of Bane's max health, and Bane gains 5% max health for each other Sith ally for the rest of the battle. The first time each other non-Galactic Legend Sith ally above 30% health would be reduced to 30% or less health, they are granted a bonus turn and defeated at the start of that bonus turn. Then Bane gains 5% max health, max protection, and offense, and 5 speed, and an additional 5% max health, max protection, and offense, and 5 speed for each relic amplifier level that defeated Sith ally had. So, there is a ton baked into this leadership, all right? We can see the synergies for offense, for health. We get some speed thrown in there. And then what it is you're stacking max health, max protection, offense, and speed. Basically when your one other Sith ally gets sacrificed, okay? Actually, it's not even one, because assuming the leadership here, one of the strengths of Darth Bane is that he can take your high relic garbage Sith and make effective use of them, because whenever they're about to be brought below 30% health, or they are brought below, they get that bonus turn, they sacrifice themselves, and then he gets all these added stats depending on how many relics they have. So, pretty nice. Now, it just does note here that it will never sacrifice Galactic Legend C. It'll never sacrifice Sith Eternal to this effect. So if you did run Bane lead with Sith Eternal, you don't need to worry about that particular issue. Alright, let's get into his unique Rule of Two. This is where the rubber meets the road. This is what makes him so nuts. Alright, Bane has plus 20% critical chance, critical damage, and plus 50% health steal. Whenever he's dazed, he gains 10% max health, stacking until the end of the battle. Whenever an enemy starts their turn, Bane gains 5 speed, max 100, until the end of battle. So, yeah, he has some turn meter gain built into his leadership and whatnot. Having him a decent base of speed around that 250 means, if he stacks up all this speed, he'll be pretty reasonable. Pretty damn reasonably fast over the course of the fight. At the start of battle, if there is only one other non-summon ally present, and they are Sith. So, we talked about the leadership where you can use up to 4 other Sith with him, right? And they could all be sacrificed under him. But if you want this clause of Rule of Two, it can only be Bane and one other Sith, and we'll see why that's beneficial here. At the start of battle, if there is only one other non-summon ally present, and they are Sith, Bane takes reduced damage from percent health damage effects and gains 350% defense. So no more dots, no more drain from Malik, stuff like that. Like, you're protected. Whenever his other ally gains ultimate charge, Sith Eternal, and that's whether or not it's Sith Eternal lead or Bane lead, but if those two are together, whenever this other ally gains ultimate charge, they gain an additional 2% ultimate charge, and the following effects occur for Bane and the other Sith ally. They are both immune to ability block, cooldown increase, healing immunity, stun, and turn meter reduction. They both gain 75% max health. They gain 75% max protection until the first time they are defeated. They ignore taunt effects. At the start of their turn, they recover 35% protection and dispel all debuffs on themselves. This is why running Bane and C now together, if you're running C lead like with Bane or something, this clause of Rule of Two means like you don't really need Wat with C anymore if you're willing to combine these two characters, all right? And then the last clause says, when Bane or the other ally is defeated, the remaining ally gains 5% critical damage, offense, and potency, plus an additional 15% of these stats per the defeated character's relic amplifier level until the end of battle. And all of that is before the Grand Arena Omicron, which we're just about to cover, okay? So, while in Grand Arenas at the start of battle, if there is only one other non-summon ally present and they are Sith, Bane gains, and this is in addition to this stuff before, right? So it's 75% max health from the base part of the ability with the Omicron. Now it goes to 150% max health and max protection. He also gains another 75% mastery on top of it. Whenever an enemy is defeated, Bane gains 10% max health, max protection, and offense, stacking until the end of the battle. And at the start of battle, Bane takes a bonus turn. These effects persist if Bane is defeated. So, this bonus turn is exactly why I'm saying, like, don't worry so much about if you're having him around 250 speed. You're going to kick off and be able to initiate the fight the way you wanted to. If you're on the fence about whether or not to apply any Omicrons or which ones you want to get in which order, indisputably, Rule of Two is the one to pick up. So I'd look into that. What's up with this music? It's a little upbeat for my taste. Where's the dark music? That's close enough. That's close enough. All right, let's get into his basic ability, Soul Sever. Deal physical damage to target enemy and reduce their offense by 20%, stacking, and Bane gains 20% offense, stacking, which can't be resisted for 2 turns. On a critical hit, gain 2 Siphon until the end of the encounter. If this attack defeats an enemy, gain an additional 2 Siphon. If the target enemy is above 50% health, this attack will critically hit if able, so feeding you the more Siphon. If they are below 50% health, this attack deals 200% more damage. Enemies defeated by this attack can't be revived. Super cool to remember this. If you're using Bane against something like Galactic Legend Rey, and you've got Ben Solo next to her, and he's got his Omicrons, it is really useful to remember that once you reduce Rey, below 50% health, and you can actually kill Solo, choosing to kill him with the basic means he can't come back. So that's something to keep in mind. This is a really underestimated ability. It's super, super powerful stuff. Because his specials are so outrageous, people forget how good this is. So don't forget just about that utility aspect of the basic with the permakill. Alright, his first special, Malevolent Whirlwind. Dispel all buffs on all enemies twice, then deal physical damage to all enemies twice, dealing 10% more damage for each buff dispelled, and inflict healing immunity for 2 turns. If the ally in the leader slot is Sith Eternal Emperor, he gains 1% ultimate charge for each enemy that was dealt damage with Deceived or Linked. Bane gains 5 Siphon until the end of the encounter. This ability has plus 200% health steal. So yeah, you can see there's just a lot built into this kit, trying to make sure that this guy survives based on his health. All right, now we'll look at the Grand Arena Omicron. Additional 3% ultimate charge gained against deceived or linked enemies, and Bane gains an additional 5 siphon from that. So this only really has value when you're using Bane with Sith Eternal, and we'll talk about that a little bit in the application section, but there seems to be, even though the Set 14 Sithchron has since expired, there seems to be very few cases where you actually need to combine Sith Eternal Emperor and Darth Bane. So of his 3 Grand Arena Omicrons, I would rank this the least important. It's nice to have, but only nice, okay? Now, this is the real kick-ass right here. His second special, Essence of Dominance. Deal physical damage to all enemies based on Bane's max health and increase their cooldowns by 1, which can't be resisted. Bane siphons max health from target enemy, which can't be resisted. Sith allies gain defense penetration up, health steal up, offense up, and speed up for 2 turns. Siphon max health is defined as gain a percentage of max health equal to this unit's siphon until the end of the encounter, and the target loses that much max health. Stacking excludes raid bosses and galactic legends. So against a galactic legend, you yourself would gain the stack up, but they would not stack down, okay? While in Grand Arena, so all of that was just the base ability with the unresistible cooldown increase by 1, all that stuff, right? All right, now we get into the Omicron ability. While in Grand Arenas, increase enemy cooldowns by 2 instead. Still can't be resisted. Additionally, remove 50% turn meter from all enemies, and Sith allies gain 50% turn meter. Reduce all enemies' defense and tenacity by 20%, stacking, which can't be resisted until the end of the battle. All right, so we're gaining max health off this. We're doing damage based on our max health, a la General Grievous, right? We're increasing their cooldowns, feeding ourselves turn meter. This is this signature ability of his kit, and it's actually the reason why you would just about always start off the fight with this ability, just for the cooldown increase, the stack health, all that good stuff. Great stuff. All right, let's back in and talk about team comps and turn order for just a moment. I guess I need to put on a different section of music there. This playlist isn't everything I've wanted it to be with that. All right. So listen, using Darth Bane in 3 vs 3 or 5 vs 5. Well, let's put it like this: on offense, you are always going to be using him with only one other Sith, leaving the benefits of Rule of 2 on the table, the ones that require that there's only one other Sith ally on the team. It's really tough to walk away from that guy. So it's going to be Bane plus somebody, all right? Now, Sith Eternal Emperor is very, very, very rarely needed. And, you can run it with Bane as the lead, depending on what your needs are, or as C as a lead. But the unique for Rule of 2 works either way. That first special ability that does the Dispel and gives that bonus ultimate charge to Sith Eternal works regardless of who's in the leadership slot. So that's okay. But as far as talking about Bane as a leader himself, Sith Empire Trooper is a great choice. Basically, your highest relic, non-required Sith for some other use, would be the ideal way to see that done. Gosh, that is annoying. That is some annoyingly quiet, gentle music when we're talking about a brute like Darth Bane. So, Sith Empire Trooper's a common choice to use here. You're not really needing him a ton of spots. You're usually using him with Sith Eternal Emperor to trivialize something, and you could use something else. You don't need to use a pre-taunt with Sith Eternal, because one of his strengths is when he casts the Chains ability, he's going to force taunt onto any dark side tanks that are on his team, whether they're Sith or not. So you can make your own pre-taunt with Sith Eternal if you need it, right? So you could use Sith Empire Trooper here, but I also wanted to highlight these Sith below. I find that I have some flexibility with these a lot of the time. Like, for example, right now, at the time of this recording, we're in 3 vs 3, and I'm using Malgus DR BSF as a team, so my Malak is kind of an odd man out. Malak with Bane is amazing. Because your enemies will get, like at least occasionally, you would think, hitting Bane, causing a critical strike, causing them to gain fear, causing him to gain taunt. which means more enemies are going to be hitting him, which means more enemies are getting fear. So that's a slick use of him right there. And against something like Queen Amidala, right now there's that set 15 Padawan Obi-Wan Queen Amidala Cron. Darth Malak can slow down that team enough for you to survive and close it out. That works. I have lost that matchup once using Sith Empire Trooper because we just didn't have it. Darth Vader's a great choice. Most of us have him modded decently fast, but particularly against Jedi and or Rebel enemies. So, you know, like your JMKs of the world, your JMLs, your Galactic Legend Rays, and so on. The ability block from Darth Vader's basic cannot be resisted, so that can provide a really interesting control angle for you. Darth Sion is often not used with my Sith trio, particularly in 3 versus 3. Traya, Nihilus, Savage is usually the way that goes. So Sion is yet another Relic 9 character that I'm not often needing. He can just, you know, he can be a tank. He's basically a lesser version of Sith Empire Trooper for this application, but the point is, he's there. Darth Talon I just took to Relic 9 specifically because she has that unique effectively it functions like Savior. If the leader Sith is about to be defeated, and that's whether it's about to be an instant defeat or if it's taking his health from 1 to 0, Darth Talon will save that leader, that Sith leader. So I have definitely made good use of that with Darth Bane going against these really brutally offensive teams like Queen Amidala. You can consider that as an option as well. And then, of course, something like Sith Assassin, Sith Marauder. These are both high relic Sith for their fleet, respectively, for the Leviathan fleet. But if they're not otherwise being used, you just want to take advantage of your highest relic, not required Sith. You know you don't need them elsewhere. But yeah, that's where you want to stick them in. All right. I think that's it on Team Comps and Turn Order. Let's go ahead and turn back into the mods themselves. So, I did do a survey of a couple of the other top players and found that, yeah, wow, some of them actually packed on a bit more offense than I had, and I hadn't spruced up his mods in a little bit, so I went ahead and did a touch-up before this recording. Now I would say I'm kind of representative of the middle of the pack with some of these top players, so I think this is a good way to show you what we got. Again, it's all health sets. It's health primary for arrow, cross, and circle, like I said. Crit damage triangle, I did want to go for that. Note that I actually have percent offense and health on this mod. So some of these, you know, something like this is something you might have to grind up a bit for, and that's why I said you could reasonably make use of a health primary. And now that we've gone through the kit, you understand why. There's so much synergy with having just a ton of health, and of course he's building up his offense. You know, you can see why the crit damage triangle has its worth as well. As far as stats go, yeah, I mean, if you're Relic 9, which is, I strongly recommend this character to go to Relic 9. Generally, attackers are a great value to take up to Relic 8. But in this particular case, the little bit of offense he gains is nice. The big health jump is fantastic, right? Absolutely love that. Let's see here. So yeah, health, I mean, around Relic 9, you can be in the neighborhood of about 150,000 if you have something like this build here, okay? I've been about 150k a little sooner, but with significantly less offense. So I think, you know, at Relic 9, like being 145 to 150 is okay. Step it down, you know, to 8 and 7 as you will if you need to. But yeah, you really want this guy to have a high basis of health because that third ability of his, that second special, it's doing damage based on his max health and then stacking his max health, right? So the higher of a base number of health you have, the more actual offensive throughput you have for that ability. And it's just giving you more durability to survive as you continuously get more and more insane over the course of the fight. I do have him at 250 speed on the nose. Like I said, I've been like 247 in the past. I've been 255 in the past. Right around that mark is a good spot to be. It's just a coincidence. It's right there on the nose. Crit damage triangle, of course. Offense, yeah, so about 11,250 here. This is a good bit of offense added through secondaries. You can see that some of these are among my finest mods for having offense and health on them, depending on what they are. So it could take some work to put together this kind of offense figure. I'd say if you hit the health, and the speed first. Get as much offense as you can after that. And as time goes on, you'll find the opportunity to cycle in something that's got those better secondaries. A final note here for his physical stats. Critical chance, I have him at 66%. His base crit chance is pretty high, right? Something about 56%, right? But his unique gives him plus 20%, all right? And for any physical attacker, I would say that you want them to be about 80% crit chance, like the absolute bare minimum 75. But that was, you know, there's a lot more crit avoidance running around on teams that are annoying these days. And so I would say that 80% is a reasonable floor. So with that unique figured in, I have 86% crit chance, almost 87. That's a fine number to beat. So just try and make sure that with that 20% crit chance figured in from the unique, you're having a total of about 80, and you're going to be doing okay. And I'd say that's it about the modding itself. Let's go ahead and talk briefly about applications. So for Bane lead for 3 versus 3, I mean, Bane lead in general is just going to stomp a bunch of stuff. Queen Amidala here this season, it's a little less reliable than it used to be. If you're using something like Sith Empire Trooper and you're fighting the best of the best, but otherwise, it really does work quite like a charm. Of course, you stomp things like Inquisitors, Malgus. I mean, think about how many teams you can get the drop on when you get to have a bonus turn at battle start, increase their cooldowns by 2, and then you start to get crazy after that, right? So, great many of these teams. Gungans, gosh, I'm looking for more GL equivalent stuff. But yeah, people just run roughshod with this. Let's go to 5 verse 5 real quick. Yeah, so I just left it on with just the lead only, but we can see here Queen Amidala, Gungans, Rey, Malgus, Sith, some really, a Starkiller comp, okay, Lord Vader, that was GG last season with the Stapkron, you know, some of these really big bad teams, right? Look at all these 100%, 64, 65, something like that. DTMG, yeah, so Inquisitors, Leia. So that's what I'm saying. Like, there's not a lot that this can't handle. Now, as far as Sith Eternal lead, I guess I can do that. Where's my Bane? Where's my Bane? Show me a Bane. Show me Bane. Where's my Bane? There it is. All right. See Bane, where are you seeing this is really necessary out there, folks? I guess some folks are using it, Traya, Starkiller, Inquisitors, okay, Jedi teams like JML. I feel like, unless you're really going against something like JMK, I don't know when I feel like it's super necessary to use them both together. But I know that against like the current JMK teams, C Bane is actually quite nice. Am I going to see that in this list here somewhere? No, it doesn't look like you got featured. Oh, there it is. Alright, JMK Padme GK. Okay, well, where's your, where's Cat? There we go. There's a Cat team. 100%, 55. JMK Cat Gas. Padme. See, this one, see? Yeah, see? Using C and Bane here, wow. That was pretty poor there with Padme. So I wonder if Bane lead with C is better. And that's another way to go to think about it. Alright guys, that about wraps this one up. I guess I could show you the 5 versus 5 real quick on this. I don't know how much data there is, but we can try and see. Yeah, JMKs. Yeah, with Queen, with whatever you want, it was 100%. Yeah, this is just a roll. This is what I was talking about. C with just Bane, just taking on any kind of JMK flawlessly. Oh yeah, that's because I still had JMK filtered on. That's why that. What else you got in here? Of course, stuff like BKM, DTMG, JML, Lord Vader, Seer Malicos. Yeah, a lot of the usual suspects, just running roughshod over every damn body. Alright, so hopefully that's some food for thought for you guys. This character really is incredible. A real treat to have. Again, strongly recommend the unique Omicron over Essence of Dominance, over Malevolent Whirlwind. Definitely those first two are worth it for everybody. And then that last one, you know, is debatable. But it's been real fun. Thank you guys for your continued interest and support. I got a lot of DMs and encouragement pushing me. I know I've been busy this last week not making these videos. I had a lot of you ask, and I really appreciate that. I really appreciate the encouragement and interest. It pushes me along. It helps me keep it in mind. Thank you guys so much. Until next time, it's been real. It's been awesome. It's been real awesome. Take care.